wouldn't pay me a compliment.
Yeah, really?
Few and far between.
Really? I need to step it up? All right, we're going to hang once the quarantine's over 2023. All right, let's get it started right now with the Bucs, who were actually in a close game against the Giants last night. Tom Brady threw 2 touchdown passes, and the Bucs were up by 8 in the final minute. After a Daniel Jones touchdown pass, New York had a chance to tie it up with a 2-point conversion. Bucs rookie safety Antoine Winfield Jr., I played with his daddy, love that dude, was flagged for a penalty in the end zone, but the refs got together and picked up the flag. What? The Bucs went on to win their 3rd straight game and are now 6-2. So, Acho, or are you worried that we don't have any notes? Oh, or about Brady's Bucs after they escaped with a win?
See, Marcellus, when you prepare as hard as I do for the show, sometimes you don't need notes.
Oh, you go hard.
Sometimes you can just go off top of your head and off top of your heart because I be preparing like I do.
Yes, you do.
I'm worried about the Buccaneers. And I'm worried about the Bucs, Marcellus, because I think about the company that they're keeping. The Giants, I think, are a decent football team. The Giants, the Eagles beat by 1 point. The Cowboys beat by 3 points, and the Buccaneers, you beat that same Giants team by only 2 points. I just, at first, I'm a little bit worried because I look at the company you keep. Where did the Buccaneers fall? But that's lazy. So why am I truly worried about this team? Because I thought AB was a luxury. It appears AB is a necessity.
Oh.
And that's vastly different.
Oh, now you're listening.
I thought Antonio Brown was a luxury for this Buccaneers team. Oh, it's just another riches. The rich get richer. Let's add to the plethora of talent they already have. But then I said, wait a second. I watched the game yesterday, and I said, they might need AB. Leading receiver, Mike Evans, 55 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Scotty Miller, he was held in check. He's typically the team's leading receiver. He's held in check. Gronk, what did he give you? 4 catches? When I looked at the team, I said, uh-oh, they might not have the talent that always fires. That we thought they had. But here's the real thing, and you'll get this because you played ball. The NFL's a copycat league. What did Joe Judge say before the game? He said, don't beat Tom Brady. Beat everybody else.
I like that.
He said, don't beat Tom Brady.
Culture.
He said, we can't just beat Tom Brady. He's a Hall of Famer. Greatest to ever do it. So beat everybody else. And the Giants did that. When you look at the fact of Ronald Jones, he fumbled, so they sent him to the bench. Leonard Fournette, they held him in check. Miller, Gronk, Evans, all held in check. They beat everybody else. Now, if you play a better team, not the Giants, probably one of the 5 worst teams in football, that's a game that the Buccaneers would have lost. So I'm a little bit concerned when I watch that game because in the event teams can duplicate what the Giants did, don't beat Tom Brady but beat everybody else, then it appears that might be the way to beat the Buccaneers.
Oh, man. Interesting take there. I don't want to go that deep into the weeds because even Super Bowl champions have questionable losses on the year. And we don't know what the Buccaneers are going to be. Who's to say that they're going to be the Super Bowl champions or not? But the point is, we know that they're a contender. But even if you win it all, you have questionable losses. Look at the Chiefs last year when they lost to the Colts. Remember the Colts? Oh, that team that made the playoffs? Oh, they didn't. But the Chiefs lost to that same team by 6 points. Let's go the year prior when we could see the Patriots who lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember them? They were 5-11, lost by 11 points. How about the Detroit Lions? They've been in the playoffs lately? Oh, they lost by 16 points and still won the championship in that same year. So I don't go there. Where I go to is just a simple explanation. You know what it is. Play down to your competition. Hey, Coach, I'm sorry. Couldn't rev the engine today. You know what? You just said all I had to do was go around the corner, go to 7-Eleven, get some Doritos, and come back. I didn't get in 6th gear for that. And you playing the Giants, I don't care what you tell yourself psychologically. It is nearly impossible for you to go out there and believe what you're telling yourself and what you're selling. So in that situation, sometimes you get punched in the mouth. And we all know that feeling. Some of us need that feeling to even wake up to play. I hate it when we had to go out there and play defense first. I loved it when I saw the offense go out there just so I could see the terrain, just so I could see the speed of the game, even though I had seen it countless times. There's something about just going out there and getting punched in the mouth initially. Sometimes you need that as a wake-up call. And in this situation, I think they needed a collective wake-up call. But let's not exaggerate it. Tom Brady went out there and played a clean game, 106 quarterback rating. Just to give you a little perspective, he is the GOAT with a career 97 quarterback rating. So for Tom Brady, good game. Tom Brady this year, good season. His touchdown percentage is 3rd in his career. You know the number 1 and number 2 are? MVP seasons for that same Tom Brady. So I can't exaggerate a close win when I've seen this team also have a close loss, and finally they find themselves on the right side of it.
Great teams find a way to win. So kudos to the Buccaneers. Like, they won the football game.
It's not the Chicago game where they lost that close.
Correct. You're exactly right. They won a football game.
And
so fans that are sitting here watching, oh, well, they barely beat the Giants, understand a worse team, let's call it the Packers, who lost to the Vikings, even when they don't play great, a good team finds a way to win. That's what the Buccaneers did. They are a good team. They still found a way to win. What I'm saying is, what can we learn from that game, which we might not have realized beforehand? Yesterday, Sal, you got mad at me in the A block, the start of the show. You got mad at me,
I
bro.
don't fight, but I get mad.
You do. You get upset because I was using card references. You said, Acho, that's lazy. Acho, you're getting paid to come on this show. Stop talking about cards. Do better. Break some things down. So, you know, this morning, I dug into the weeds of things. I said, why else would I be concerned about the Buccaneers? I was listening to the broadcast, the game last night, and you talk about the Buccaneers defense. Amazing defense, coached by Todd Bowles, phenomenal defensive coordinator. Secondary, they're hungry. They're fast, but they're young.
Yeah.
And I said, wait a second. Youth in the secondary, because the secondary outside of linebackers usually calls the defense, that can be problematic. I started thinking, Marcellus, all the Super Bowl champions in the 2010s, they had a veteran safety, an older safety, a wily old vet. Look at this right here, the full screen.
Yeah, you got to
look at the past Super Bowl. Ty Matthew, Devin McCourty, Malcolm Jenkins, McCourty again, T.J. Ward, Devin McCourty again, Earl Thomas, Ed Reed, Andre Rolle, Nico Collins, Charles Woodson was also on that Packers team. Digest that just for 1 second. All of the Super Bowl winning teams had multiple Pro Bowl, multiple All-Pro safeties. The least accomplished player on that list is T.J. Ward, 2-time All-Pro, I believe 3-time Pro Bowler. That's the least accomplished player. When I look at the Bucs roster, Antoine Winfield Jr. is a dog.
My dog.
He's a dog.
And his daddy was too.
He was a baller in Minnesota last year. I was watching him in college. But he's 22 years old.
Okay.
Why does that matter? Because the last play of the game, when Daniel Jones misses in that questionable PI call, Antoine Winfield Jr., when he's a vet, when he's a little bit older, maybe even later on in the season, he's going to realize exactly what's happening. He's going to beat that to the spot and pick that off. A better quarterback than Daniel Jones completes that two-point conversion. That game's going into overtime. So if you want me to dive into the weeds and do my homework and not just come up here and talk about cards, my other reason, Marcellus, big bro, that I'm concerned about the Bucs is because when I look at Super Bowl caliber defenses have Super Bowl leaders in their secondary. They have veterans in their secondary. All these Bucs players are dogs. They're going to be beasts, go on to long, great careers. But my question is, are they right now when the moment calls?
Interesting. Good forecast and prediction. Who knows how it turns out? Look, a young Tom Brady, who is on that team, can also talk about being a young player, first time as a full-time starter, winning a Super Bowl. Maybe he can look at that defense and say, hey, these lights are not that bright. It's actually the same voltage as any other lights that you play in any other game, so let's not magnify the moments. Maybe Tom Brady being on that roster can help a young 22-year-old understand what that moment means. But if I want to do what you did, which is not listen to the broadcast again. Damn, I didn't mean to go that far away from it. Look, you can play cards in the morning if you want to, but you wouldn't listen to the broadcast again. I didn't have to do that. I watched the game last night in real time and realized, oh, my God, they are getting beat up front. Like, you're not supposed to be able to pound the Buccaneers defense, especially in run defense, the way that was happening. Now, I've been a run defender before, and I think in my entire career, I held on to being a good run defender longer than I held on to being a good pass rusher. And in the NFL, if you don't get sacks as a defensive end and they think you have athleticism, you got to go.
Gotta go.
But I was still playing the run very well, but they was like, that's not what we pay you the big bucks for. But with that said, I realized it was easier to play the run because all I needed was leverage and effort. Like, that was 90% of my understanding of playing that position in that way. It was just give effort and make sure I keep my leverage. Everything else was just discipline and schematics. But when you talk about this situation, did they give the effort? Were they motivated to give the effort? If I want to dive into it, the only thing I saw was the fact that they got beat up front. Look, you're not going to get Vita Vea back this year. He's gone. So that's obviously a big void for them. But other than that, I can't look at anything else. This is the same team that lost to the Saints in week 1, right? And you talk about, oh, look around, and they suppressed some people. The Giants were able to cover up their key pieces. Don't forget that this Bucs team were able to cover up the Saints' key pieces in a losing effort. Did Breeze have over 200 yards? Nope. Did Kamara ball? Nope. Did Michael Thomas ball? Nope. Did Sanders ball? No. And they lost that game. So I like them being on the right side of a win.
Here's how I look at it, bro. Defenses, offenses, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, they smell blood in the water in the National Football League. Very simply put, if you show any sign of weakness in 1 week, the next week they are coming to exploit it. Point blank period at every level in football, but primarily in the NFL football. If you show, you can't stop the run, the next week, you're going to see that exact same run.
True.
If you show you can't stop the play-action pass, the next week, they're going to play-action pass you to death. What did we see yesterday? The Giants and their defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, who, mind you, came from New England, came from being a defensive line coach and a linebacker coach, they showed everybody the blueprint. So they said, here's a blueprint of how to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, they still didn't execute it. They still didn't execute it. They came up short, but they said, boom, here's the blueprint. What did they do? They held the Bucs to their second worst yards per play all season. Second worst rush yards in the game all season. Second worst third down percentage all season. Here's the blueprint. Don't beat Tom Brady. You're not going to trick him. You're not going to confuse him. Go out there and beat everybody else. That is why if other defensive coordinators smell blood in the water, they might be able to go in for the kill against the Bucs in the future. That's the only cause.
You can smell blood all you want. Are you a shark, though? Like, I mean, think about it. Do you have the personnel to go execute that? You know what's funny? I played with Doug Flutie, and one of the things that made me respect Bill Belichick before he even became a head coach was the fact that he was the one that figured out Doug Flutie as much as figuring out means. Basically, Doug Flutie was running around, doing what he had to do, improvising, darting people. It was just killer. It was Flutie mania. Like, it took over the NFL. Flutie Flakes. They sold cereal after Doug Flutie because people were like, what is this? He was exiled to go to Canada. We've been missing this our entire lives. And he hit the ground running. And then we had to play the Jets. We had to play Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick took a look and said, Doug Flutie, a little shorter than the average quarterback. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to blitz the edges, keep him between the tackles, keep him in the pocket. Let's see if he can see over that offensive line. And just keep coming that way, and let's see how it goes. Now, Doug Flutie had some success, but it was different. The blueprint was out there. But do you know that other teams saw that and tried to run that and couldn't execute that same thing? So schematics is one thing. That's on paper. But making that happen on the field, completely different conversation. Coming up at the top of the hour, the Packers just lost to a last-place team. Yuck. We'll tell you if Aaron